Just quit watching this video right now if you haven't read all the books. Run, run, this is terrible, I'm ruining it. Hello everybody. Thanks to popular demand, we are doing another Q&A, hot on the heels of the one that I did recently, and answering some of the same questions, or questions from the same Instagram post that I put up a couple of weeks ago, which I hope you didn't miss. And you wouldn't miss if you were following me on Instagram. So, because I seem to be asking more questions on Instagram lately than on, say, Facebook or something. I'm getting more responses because Facebook is just basically evil these days, and Instagram is not yet evil, but it will be someday. So, with that pessimistic start off, here we go. I'm going to answer your questions. So, Carter and Jules were on again, off again. It was always a thing between them. Allie always suspected it. And because Jules left, as you know, in the great exodus. Again, spoiler, God. Okay, anyway. My theory about what happened, and this will be addressed very prominently in number 10, so I'm not going to tell you too much. But I think Jules was shattered. I do think by the whole thing. And just by her parents' involvement, by what that meant for her, by the fact that she ended up where she ended up, which is not necessarily where perhaps she would have wanted to end up. And in her absence, you know, things happened that affected her directly and that were completely out of her control. And Jules is very controlling. Everything about her is controlled. And to have no control over these hugely important things, to have her whole life upended, I think she was traumatized, just completely traumatized by the whole thing. And so just that will play into the story in number 10. Jules is coming back, my friends. So you're gonna have to read number 10 to find out. Okay, next question. Well, and they were so close. And that would have been so devastating. Like, the betrayal of just not even, because Eloise herself in the books, she's not a bad person. She's just loyal to the wrong people, and the cost of that small error of heart, well, I think it's everything, because there's no way in my mind that she could stay. And there's just, Isabelle values loyalty above all, and she's forgiving, but she's not accepting. And I think she would have fired Eloise, although I think Eloise would just leave and never come back. And I think Isabelle would have reached out to her, and she would have wanted an explanation after it was all over. She would have wanted to sit down with her someplace neutral and give her a chance to explain how she could do this. And then I'm not sure she would ever have seen her again, or, you know, had anything to do with her ever again. I just don't see how. Not Isabelle. Loyalty is everything to her. So that was the end, in my opinion. And, you know, be careful, guys. In some ways, I think Isabelle's a bit like me. Like, when I'm like, I know Isabelle so well, and I'm like, because that's what I would do. Because I would be so angry if I were her. And in the circumstances where loyalty is so important, because they're essentially at war, and you have to trust, you know, those around you, the ones fighting on your side, they have to have your back. And when they don't, that's the ultimate betrayal, in a way. I visualize him as people I've actually known. So I have always seen him as a very wealthy, aloof man. I mean, he married multiple times. They were from different mothers. His connection to each one is distant. I think both of them idolized him for that reason when they were young. Like, he was like this figure of, like, they just wanted him to love them, and I'm not sure that he did. And I think sometimes when your father doesn't love you, you then love him even more, almost as if you're trying to make up for that emptiness. And so that's how I visualize that he was perhaps not even capable of love. That's just not something he does. He's capable of possession and ownership and collection, and children are one of the things he collects, but I don't think he really loved them. And I think that's what broke Nathaniel. And I think that's why Isabelle is so fierce in her connection to the students she takes care of, and in particular Carter, and how she feels of like a mother to Carter, and just wants him to have someone in his life who loves him, the things she maybe did not have. So all of that, that's just how I see it. I think he left everything to Isabelle because he could see he's smart. He was a smart man. He knew how to make money, how to keep money, and to do that you have to know enough about human nature. Even if you don't like humans, you have to understand the weaknesses in humans, and I think he would very much have seen the weaknesses in Nathaniel. His desperation for power, his desire to control everything, his egomania. Like, I don't actually think Nathaniel is like a psychopath. That was Gabe. I think Nathaniel is a narcissist, and he believes he should have everything, and he always expected to have everything without ever doing enough to prove that he deserved it. Whereas Isabelle, assuming she would get nothing, worked to be a good person who could make her own way. And I think her father would have valued that in a clinical, distant CEO way rather than in a loving father way. I think their dad was a bit of a dick, and I think he just wanted to mess with his son in that way. Maybe he wasn't that close to Nathaniel's mom. I mean, I don't know, maybe he blamed him for Nathaniel's mom's death. Like, there's a lot of tangly stuff in there that we could never understand, even if they were real people and we met them. Oh my God. Okay, not in book 1. I have written book 1, I have begun book 2, and I will say this much, they have not yet met. But I will say no more. They're going to meet. Several, actually. Books that I love that I've read over and over and over again. I think The Secret History by Donna Tartt, which you should all read, is perfect in a weird way. Like, it's a bit weird, but it's perfect. Like, you just go with it. It's amazing. It's set at a private, expensive university. There's a murder that's told backwards. The characters are delightfully horrible and delightful. It's amazing. I loved it. And it's snowing, and it's New England, and I just loved it. So Secret History by Donna Tartt is a perfect book. The Night Circus is by Erin Morgenstern. As you know, if you've seen my video on books that changed my life, The Night Circus, I think it's just perfect. I don't care. If you don't like it, I don't care. You're wrong. I just loved it. I loved everything about it. I believed it completely. It's magical. It's so exciting. It's beautiful. Read The Night Circus, read The Secret History, and of course, as always, if you haven't read Station 11, I do not know what you are doing with your life. I mean that. What's the point? Those are 3 perfect books right there in answer to that question, and with that, I'm going to stop answering questions because we're running out of battery. Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being awesome. Just hang, subscribe, don't subscribe, write me comments. Anything you comment on, I will reply to. I'm going to do giveaways soon just for you guys. Follow me on Instagram because I do giveaways there. Hang out. Tell me what you think. Stay in touch. And I will see you very soon.